listening to the Jboy Show, your number one source for Auburn and the SEC.
My goal was to run through his soul and grab his heart when I run through his soul.
Kurt, Nate, Coach Dab. Those are memories.
I think we've established ourselves as, I think, the premier conference in college football.
Now, the SEC is better at the top. It's better in the middle.
The Southeastern Conference remains the premier conference.
Takes the snap. Looking for the receiver. He's got Lutz and Kirkland. Touchdown, Auburn!
Think about it. It's always been the SEC and everybody else trying to catch it.
I think this is probably the best league from a competitive venue standpoint.
Most capable teams. You just look at those programs, the way they recruit, how they invest.
Snap to Burrow. 3 steps. Fires. Back corner of the end zone. Over the shoulder catch. Did he hold on? He did. Justin Jefferson. Touchdown, Tiger.
And now, your host, Jboy.
Hello, everyone, and thank you again for joining us on another special edition of the Jboy Show. Like I told you, the guests keep getting better and better, and this one's a little personal for me because we coached together before. But that's a 2-time Super Bowl champion, former New York Giant, former Bearcat at Northwest Missouri State. That's Dave Tollefson. Dave, what's up, man?
Hey, Jake. What's going on, brother?
Man, it's just good to talk to you, man. How's life?
It's going good, man. Another hot day up north here.
Yeah. Tell everybody where you're at. I mean, not exactly where you're at, but what state you're at.
Yeah. I'm in Elkhorn, Nebraska, which is funny. You being from the South, it's hot down there, but coaching up here with me, we get some hot days too, man.
Yeah, it was hot, man. And I remember the first practice I went out there in like a windbreaker trying to prove a point, man. I was hurting. But Dave, I want to go ahead. I want to jump right in because, man, your story is just it's crazy. It's awesome, and from beginning to end, it's like they can make a movie or like a couple movies out of it. But like in short, obviously you were really good at Ignacio Valley High School in Concord in California. You go to Los Medanos College in '99 and 2000, and then to Fresno State. And man, if you don't mind, I kind of want to let you take it from there a little bit, kind of just explain it, because it's so crazy how you ended up, being as high profile as you ended up being.
So, yeah, I went to high school in Concord, which obviously I know you're doing the recruiting thing and with high schools and stuff. That my public school is right next door to De La Salle High School.
Yeah.
And De La Salle was in the middle of their 151 game winning streak. DJ Williams, who went to Miami, Matt Gutierrez went to Michigan, Maurice Jones-Drew, Kevin Simon. Remember Kevin Simon? He went to Tennessee.
Yep.
I mean, they had dudes. So I was pretty good. We were in the same league, and I was all league, but I had terrible grades. I think I graduated with a 1.3 or something like that. Went to junior college and really didn't fare any better. I was really undersized. I was probably 210 pounds my sophomore year in junior college and still having issues with grades. And up until that point, I had only played linebacker. I'd never put my hand in the dirt. I did some blitzing stuff and showed some skill set in the pass rush game and whatnot. Well, no, I didn't get any offers. So what ended up kind of happening is I had this opportunity to maybe walk on at Fresno State right after my 2 years because, not to make the story too long, but my old high school coach, Tim Murphy, who's at Clayton Valley Charter now, back in my hometown, he was down at Clovis East. Have you heard of the Clovis High Schools by Fresno?
Yep.
They got really good football programs and wrestling programs and stuff like that.
Last year.
Yep. So he's like, you should try to walk on at Fresno. So in the meantime, I'd been lifting weights, and this was probably about right after the spring of my second year. So in the summer, I put on some weight, and things were going good, and got offered. This one, Fresno was good too. David Carr was the quarterback. I mean, they had just beat Wisconsin the year before up in Wisconsin, and I go down there, and they showed interest for me to walk on. And again, I just screwed the pooch, man. Failed the class that I needed to go there. Didn't really know how to handle things back then. Didn't call them, didn't communicate with them. I just remember getting a voicemail one day from Pat Hill saying, "We filled your spot. Sorry it couldn't work out." So in the meantime, I was working at Home Depot. And what happened was my cousin, who was an electrician for a construction crew, he's like, "Dude, why don't you come work with me? You can make some good money." I go to start working with him. Dude, I hate electricity. Like to this day, I hate it. Like freaks me out. So I ended up getting bumped to a carpenter in this construction business, and I did that for like a year and a half. And my buddy Damian Chumley, he's from San Francisco. Yeah, I still talk to him. He calls me Blood. He calls me one day. He's like, "Hey, Blood." I'm like, "What's up, Chum?" He's like, "Man, you need to come out here to Northwest Missouri State and show them how we play football in the Bay." And I honestly, Crane, up to this point, growing up in California, like you either went Division I or you didn't play college football.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't really. The only lower division school that I had heard of, was Humboldt State.
Really?
That's the only one I heard of, because a little bit earlier than when I graduated high school, a bunch of D2 schools in California shut down the football programs. Chico State
that's right.
was one of them. Sonoma State, that's where Larry Allen went.
Yeah.
And I think there was a couple more that ended up just shutting the doors on their football program. So even Division I AA, we had Sac State. They were okay. So really it was like D1 or bust, man.
Yeah.
And so I'd never heard of Northwest Missouri State. This is like, 2002, 2003. That would have been 2003.
Yep.
Well, they had won a national championship in 99 and 2000. I mean, it was a really well-established football program. So I got my shoulder fixed, paid for my plane ticket to fly out there. In the meantime, and again, this is the Cliff Notes, and your listeners, hope they understand, this is like percentage of what everything that happened. You're right.
I know, man. And like I said, you go.
So I get hooked up with this group called PEPA, and they're out of Alameda, California. Performance Enhancement for Professional Athletes.
Okay.
And this guy Thomas Witherspoon and his brother Kenny Harrison. And Kenny Harrison, I think Kenny still has the Olympic record for the triple jump.
Yeah.
In the 96 Atlanta Games, he won the gold medal.
Wow.
So I get my shoulder fixed. I'm 6'4" and a smidge at this point. I'm probably like 243 pounds, and I've never done any like athletic training. But the guys that are at this place are like Charles Woodson, Lamont Thompson played safety.
Wow.
Lorenzo Alexander, who just retired this last year.
Like you dove right into the best swimming pool.
Yeah, and dude, the funny thing is how I even got there, Crane. So you got, I'm sure everybody down there knows of Tosh Lupoy, right?
Yep.
DC at Alabama for a couple years now. He's down with the Falcons, coaching the D-line. So this is how crazy this crap gets, man. His brother is like a movie guy. Like he does like special effects now in Hollywood. His name's Tony. He did like a promotional video for these guys. So me and Tosh and my other buddy Ryan got to train at this place for free because Tosh's brother made this promotional video.
Dude, that's sick.
So it's bizarre. It's crazy. So I start running and like doing all these drills, and I'm getting faster and I'm getting better.
You're like, man, this is working, man.
This is crazy. Like Kenny was awesome coaching me, and next thing you know, like prior to flying out to Northwest to work out, like I'm running a pretty steady low 4.6, high 4.5 40.
Man.
And there's pros there, and they're like, Dave, you're pretty athletic, and I'm like, well, not as athletic as you guys, but whatever.
Well, I mean, let me ask you this real quick though. Like when you started, were they just so much better than you? What I'm sure they were. I mean, listen to those guys, but I mean that had to make you better, because I know you, man. You're competitive as hell. I know it had to make you better.
No, it was just so eye opening because I mean, listen, as good as I was in high school, I never considered myself to be like an exceptional athlete. Like I wasn't slow. I was strong, but I wasn't really strong. I just really loved football. And then I'm doing these drills and my numbers are kind of matching up with these dudes that are at big time schools and playing professional football. And I'm like, I could probably be pretty good at this.
Yeah.
So I go out to Northwest Missouri State, and Scott Bostwick, who's gone now, he's passed away, picks me up from the airport, and we're driving to Northwest, and we get caught in this thunderstorm, dude, which in California, if you see lightning, that's like a big deal.
Yeah.
Like it just rain. Like literally our weather in California is rain season and dry season.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're in a totally different element. That's Jumanji to you.
We had to pull over on the side of the road, bro. Like it was raining so hard. And I'm like, is it always like this? And he had like a scruffy old voice. Nah, it just happens every once in a while, you know? So Scott brings me into town, works me out, just ecstatic that I'm a walk-on, right? Like, he's just like, yeah, you can walk on here.
Yeah, here's your walk-on.
And years later, I found this out from our old offensive coordinator, Jim Sabota, who's now the head coach at Central Missouri State. He watched my workout and he told Scott after I left, he's like, let's play him at tight end. And Scott looks at me, he's like, I found him first. He's playing defense.
He called dibs
so
on
funny
you,
hearing that.
He called dibs on you.
Exactly.
That's hilarious.
Exactly.
So you go to Northwest, you ball, and then kind of tell your story about how you get to the league. It's crazy.
Yeah, so I break my foot my first year there, so I missed a season, so I was out a total of 3 years. Play 04, 05. At the end of my senior year, we played for a national championship and lost, and the head coach, Mel Churchill, who's in the College Football Hall of Fame, he calls me in the office, and he's like, Dave, you got invited to the Hula Bowl. I'm like, what?
That's
that's a legitimate, like, all-star game.
Yeah.
You know? So I go down there, dude, they lose my equipment when I get there.
No way. What do you mean they just lost it? Like
on the flight, it was gone. I get there and we have practice, bro, and I'm the only guy on the field without pads and a helmet on.
No, were you just on the sideline? Did they let you walk through?
No, bro. I was out there. Dude,
I know you were. There's no way they're keeping your crazy ass off that field.
Dude, I busted my lip open doing one-on-ones because they all had helmets on and stuff.
Dude, it's so funny because I know you. I just know I can see it.
So that goes really good. I get 5 tackles, lead the game in tackles, have a really good game. And then I have my pro day, and my pro day goes great also. At this point, I'm about 260 pounds. I think I ran like a 4.67 or something like that. Really good workouts at Missouri. I was fortunate enough where I could do my pro day at the University of Missouri, Columbia. And again, I revisit this name again, Tosh Lupoy, on draft day, who was a pretty good football player himself, although he had some injury issues. He puts us in a bass tournament on draft day. So this is the old school draft. So it's like 1st through 3rd and then 4th through 7th. So that Sunday we're in a bass fishing tournament on the California Delta.
Wow.
So we're out on our boat fishing. We come in to weigh in, and Ted Thompson calls me. He's like, we drafted you. I'm like,
wait, just like that.
Yeah, Ted Thompson is so dry. I mean, it's just how he is. And I'm like, I look at Tosh, and he looks at me. He's like, well, I was like, bro, I just got drafted.
Oh, man. I bet you had some fun that night, huh?
Oh, dude, it was a riot. It was so funny because Tosh, we were in each other's weddings. Me and Tosh are really close friends. And when he was playing at Cal, so probably about 3 years prior to that, when I was a carpenter, I was sitting on Tasha's parents' couch and we were watching football on a Sunday after he had just played a game at Cal Berkeley, right? Mm-hmm. He had just played a game. And I'm in my like only clothes I own, which is like Carhartt jeans, boots, and like a cutoff t-shirt, right?
Yeah.
And we're watching this game and I'm like, man, I think I could play in the NFL. And he gets up off the couch, Craig, and he starts like yelling at me. He's like, you think it's a sign-up sheet? You think you just show up and they let you in? And then literally 3 years later, I'm with him and I'm like, I got drafted, bro.
Did you bring it up or did you just let it just?
Oh, dude, I say it all the time.
You said, guess what? It is for me.
Dude, I bet my other buddy $500 one day we were lifting weights like 3 years prior to that at Gold's Gym, like at 10 at night. I'm like, I'll bet you $500 right now I'm going to play in the NFL.
He's like, what? He's like, I'll take it.
Yeah, he's like, hell yeah, it's free $500. So I called him up after I got drafted. I was like, where's my money?
That's freaking hilarious, dude. That is so funny. So you get drafted by the Packers, right?
Yep.
You get drafted by the Packers. Then you go overseas for a little bit to Berlin. Then you come back to the Raiders. But then you go to the Giants and you win 2 Super Bowls, man. Number one, what's it like to win the Super Bowl? And number 2, I know you got at least one funny story that you can share about the Super Bowl.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you know, that particular season, I made the Raiders practice squad, and Lane Kiffin was the head coach, right?
Yep.
So that was a trip. You know, me and Lane never had a problem, but it was like, it was weird. I mean, he wasn't much older than I was at the time. I think I was
young.
Yeah, he's like 30, maybe 31.
He looked young too.
Yeah, and I was like 26, and it was weird, but it was cool. I was living at my mom's house in Vallejo, California. I was commuting to work to play professional football.
Hey, look, man, that's just so you, bro.
Yeah, so then the Giants picked me up off the practice squad, and then the next thing I know, like the first couple games, I'm not playing, and then I start playing. I mean, when the Giants picked me up, we were 2-2. It wasn't like I was going to the Patriots that year that was undefeated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, so I didn't think we were going to win the Super Bowl, but like we're playing pretty good, get better, blah blah, win some playoff games, go to Green Bay, beat Brett Favre in the coldest game in history, and the next thing you know, we're playing in the Super Bowl, man. And it was like, it honestly, Crane, it was like an out of body experience.
I
really
can't even imagine, man.
I think I played like probably 10 snaps on defense. You know, I was Michael Strahan's backup.
Yeah. So was it, you played in a lot of games, man, a lot of games in front of a lot of people, but playing in the Super Bowl, was there an extra gear you could hit? Was there just some sort of just inner spirit animal warrior that comes out in the Super Bowl?
For sure, man. And that'll lead into one of my favorite stories, man. So I'm on punt return. Most of the snaps I took that season was on special teams. And then, like I said, I get my little 10 to 15 backing up straight in.
Let him spin, baby. Let him spin.
Hey, so I got to block Teddy Bruschi. He's on punt team. I'm on punt return. So the Patriots punt the ball, and I'm like riding Teddy, right? I got him kind of grabbed by his chest plate. We're running. We're getting close to the sideline. And, bro, I just launch him out of bounds and into the ref and knock the ref down. And he's like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, it's the Super Bowl, bitch.
Oh, dude, that's hilarious. I could see that 100%. I could see it 100%. So you're playing in the game, man, and you're playing, obviously Eli's your quarterback. And I'm going to ask you about the catch in a minute, just from your perspective. But can you just talk about Eli to our audience for a second? Because you have perspective not a lot of people do. And just talk about just Eli and just how cool he is.
I mean, he was awesome, man. It was obviously, even in today's NFL, you only really go as far as your D-line and your quarterback position, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it is. Even in college, it's that way too. So we kind of had a unique relationship with Eli where we both really could rely on each other. I mean, Eli was such a cool cat when stuff wasn't going right. I mean, I've seen this dude get hit so hard and get back up. I mean, he's the toughest dude probably on the team. And he was such a good teammate. Like, he never made you feel less than him and he worked so hard. I mean, he's my all-time QB, man. Yeah. I mean, he is. He was a beast. His wife was sweet. I found out years later his mom took my mother-in-law to brunch one day, and I didn't even know about it. Wow. Just really, really good people. And I tell you what, man, he gets a lot of grief. I mean, obviously he's got a 500 record, but the guy's played a lot of really, really good football.
Man. Yeah, he has. He's got 2 Super Bowls, man. I mean,
2 MVPs too, right?
Like, you don't just slip up and do that. Like, that doesn't just happen on accident. I know you know that better than anybody. But I do want to ask you, Dave, before I ask you about the catch, I got to ask you about the karate kick, man. Because I just, I almost wish we were on video because I know you do it. I know you can probably still do it just as good. So for those of our audience that doesn't know, every time Dave would get a sack, he would do. Where did you get it from?
From Family Guy, dude. Roadhouse. Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, that's right. Dude, that was so awesome. I remember that.
So, dude, there's like a story behind it. So we were going to play Minnesota in the Metrodome, and the Metrodome collapsed.
Yeah.
So we were flying to Minneapolis. The storm hit, so we had to stop in Kansas City. So we're chilling in Kansas City waiting for the snowstorm to go by. And while we're in the airport in Kansas City, we're watching like ESPN, and the Metrodome collapses. So we're like, well, yeah. I guess we're staying in Kansas City. So we get a hotel in Kansas City, and my wife's family is from Kansas City. So we got this little taco joint down there called In a Tub Taco. It's unbelievable. So I order like 250 tacos from this joint for all the dudes on the team. So we're chilling, eating tacos, and we're watching Family Guy. And Peter Griffin just watched Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze and is going around roundhouse kicking like everything, people, windows, everything, right?
Yeah.
And so Barry Cofield's like, I bet you won't do that if you get a sack tomorrow. I was like, I bet you I will.
Those guys knew if they bet you anything, you're going to do it. You're the best guy that has to bet something.
Exactly. So we go play Minnesota in Detroit, and I get a sack, and I do it. And then it obviously, you know me as good as anybody, Jake. Like, my career, no one had more fun than me playing football, especially professionally, right?
You did it the right way, and you made it to the mountaintop, man, twice.
Yeah,
twice.
Yeah. So it was kind of a little microcosm of my career. Like, everybody has these awesome sack dances, and I do a damn karate kick. You know?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so fitting though, and it's so perfect. I mean, you pulled it off too. It looked nice, man. I know you, and I know you probably worked on it the night before.
Hell yeah! In the hotel room,
in the mirror. But all right, Dave. Kind of as we're winding down, man. Last question here. So you're in the Super Bowl, and Brandon Tyree makes that catch. Like, did you think he caught it? Like, or were you just like, man, no way? Or did he do stuff like that all the time?
No, he was actually he didn't have great hands as far as being a wide receiver. He's a really good special teams player.
Yeah.
And it's probably been told before, or I've heard it before, that he dropped like 7 balls in practice the 2 days before. So we were making fun of him at practice. We were like, beat him up, ball, beat him up.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm like, I got a front row ticket to this whole thing unfolding in front of me. So I'm seeing Eli almost go down. And I'm like, throw it. No, don't. No. And he launches it in the middle of the field, and you're just like, no, yes.
Did you know y'all were going to win after that catch?
Pretty much. I mean, that you have that good of fortune on a play like that in such a big stage, dude. You just get the feeling that you're kind of invincible, at that point. It was incredible, man.
Yeah. And man, God, such great stories. Dave Tollefson, 2-time Super Bowl champ for the New York Giants. Unbelievable story. Awesome guy. A guy that I coached with. And man, we had some fun, didn't we, up there at Iowa Western?
Heck yeah. Won a lot of football games,
Won a lot, man. And just a super guy. Dave, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on. Dude, once they start playing, hopefully, I'm going to get you back on because this guy can talk ball with the best of them.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right.
Thanks, Jake.
Hey, as always, man, we'll talk soon. I appreciate you. And that was Dave Tollefson, former New York Giant. Just all-around great guy. Some great stories. He's hilarious, as usual. Like I said, he's a personal friend. We coach together. But I really appreciate him joining the show. Appreciate you guys, as usual. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at The Jboy Show on YouTube. We got The Jboy Show. It's our page. Same thing on Facebook. Also, text JBOY to 90407. You get the earliest predictions. Make sure you do that. It's easy. I'm not going to spam you either. And again, you guys make this thing work. As always, shout out to the Investor Brand Network, the best PR team in the game, and Faison in the studio doing his witchcraft and wizardry. Y'all are the best. It's another edition of the Jboy Show, and Jboy's going.